Okay, we've been asked to begin, even though we're still, if we can get quiet. I'm Phyllis Chesler. It's my great honor to be here representing the Western intellectuals, academics, social activists, and feminists who in every way have been hijacked by an ideology of both religious and gender apartheid, which Islamism is about. And I hope that we will quickly stand with those who defend the West, who are here today from around the world and from the Islamic world. They are defending the rights that have been evolved in the West, but that are universal. So, and I'm proud to be demonized as a racist for my deep concern for the human rights of Muslim individuals, and indeed that is what I'm called in my politically correct circles. So onward. Let me first introduce, we have three wonderful panelists. We have Tawfiq Hamid, we have Nibras Kazimi, and somewhere we have Tashbih Syed. So, who is here and being found? Heroes all, and great morally clear individuals. So let me start with Tawfiq Hamid, who was born in Egypt to a secular Muslim family, and as a teenager he joined Jama'a Islamiyah, a terrorist organization led then by Ayman al-Zawahiri, and Hamid was chosen by this organization to debate and criticize Christians. And to fulfill this role, he started to read the Bible and began to realize his fundamental disagreements with terrorism. Hamid then began speaking regularly in mosques where he developed a peaceful understanding of Islam that is compatible with human rights. Hamid is now a medical doctor who also holds degrees in psychology and education. In media interviews and at lectures at UCLA, Stanford, and Georgetown, Hamid speaks out against jihadism. And his most recent book, which I've read, and it is a very wise and passionate work, is The Roots of Jihad. So I give you Tawfiq Hamid.
Good morning, everybody. Do you hear me at the back? Do you hear me clearly? Okay. Okay.
Maybe the mic is not working.
Maybe the mic is not. Do you hear me clearly now? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Thanks so much for being with us today. My name, as she mentioned, is Tawfiq Hamid, and I was born for a very secular family. My father actually was an orthopedic surgeon, he was an atheist, and my mother was a liberal French teacher. At the age of 16, I started to think about the concept of God, and I joined the Jama'a Islamiyah, which Jama'a means group. Islamiyah is Islamic. It was like an organization, a fundamentalist group, led by Dr. Ayman al-Zawahiri and many like him. In my belief that Dr. Ayman al-Zawahiri and these terrorists are criminals, certainly criminals, but they are at the same time victims for certain form of ideology that created them. If Dr. Ayman al-Zawahiri, with his passion toward God, was born for another faith or another way of understanding Islam, he would have been probably a very peaceful person. When you meet with him at a personal level, personally, he was a person who wanted to serve God. This was his only dream and my only dream. But the ideology itself, the teaching itself, creates hatred and creates intolerance to other beliefs and ended in terrorism. I will go with you through the brainwashing tactics that are used by the Jama'a Islamiyah or the terrorist organizations or Islamic organization to create what I call the terrorist mind. The brainwashing process goes into the following stages. Number one, they suppress your critical thinking. This is the first step they do. I still remember the first time I was going to the mosque of Jama'ah Islamiyah to pray. I was walking with someone called Mukhtar, and he said to me, he was one of the leaders of Jama'ah, he said to me, Al-fikru kufr. Al-fikr means thinking. Kufr means to be an infidel. They are composed of the same three letters but with different arrangement. So he wanted to imply that if I started to think in religion, while Quran encourages thinking process, but this is the way they teach it. Al-fikru kufr. If you started to think, you will become an infidel. So the first step was to suppress my critical thinking. The second step was to use the hellfire, the concept of torture in hell, to make my mind paralyzed and become unable to question or unable to say no to their teaching. And they quoted many verses. For example, they describe for you, some of the verses are saying, يُصَبُّ مِنْ فَوْقِ رِؤُوسِهِمُ الْحَمِيمُ. The boiling water will be poured over their heads. يُصْهَرُ بِهِ مَا فِي بُطُونِهِمْ وَالْجُلُودِ. It will dissolve and destroy all their tissues and their guts and their skin. And not only that, when your skin is burned, you will be given another skin, new skin, to be tortured again. كُلَّمَا نَضَجَتْ جُلُودُهُمْ بَدَّلْنَاهُمْ جُلُودًا غَيْرَهَا لِيَذُوقُوا الْعَذَابِ. Which means when their skins are already burned, they will be given new skins to have another turn of burning. So they make you afraid of thinking, afraid of questioning. And once your mind becomes paralyzed, then they can guide you into any direction. The third step is the concept of making the second life more important than the first life. So I used to live just believing that this earthly life means nothing. The only life and the real life is up there. And this was based on the interpretation of certain Quranic texts like مَنْ كَانَ يُرِيدُ الْعَاجِلَةِ. Whoever wants this earthly life, عَجَّلْنَا لَهُ فِيهَا مَا نَشَاءُ لِمَنْ نُرِيدُ. We will give them as we want to whoever we want. ثُمَّ جَعَلْنَا لَهُ جَهَنَّمَ يَصْلَاهَا مَذْمُومًا مَدْحُورًا. And we will make hell or Jahannam forever for him, just for desiring this earthly life. So the way of teaching made me feel that it's impossible to dream about anything on earth. All my dreams became up there. My dream was to go to the paradise, to be saved from hell. And the only guarantee in their teaching to do this is to do jihad, to hate others, and to apply Islam in a very violent manner. The fourth mechanism they used is what I call sex deprivation syndrome. What is this? I'll tell you exactly what happened to me and to many other members of the Jama'ah Islamiyah. In the Middle East, it's very difficult to have extramarital relationship. Very difficult. And the teaching itself makes it impossible to have a relation with a young girl or a woman. It's just touching her hands in shake. By shake is a big sin. Looking to her is another sin. So women were considered something forbidden. You can't touch them, you can't talk to them, it's not allowed. And at the same time, you are suppressing any relation with women. You don't have a relationship, sexual relationship, and you cannot marry because marriage was very difficult because of financial and cultural constraints. So marriage for me and for many others was a long-term project, 10 years ahead. And imagine this situation, you cannot have any relationship, marriage is very difficult, and at the same time, many Islamic scholars are prohibiting any sexual relief by something like masturbation. So there was complete suppression on the ability to release the sexual desires. But this is not enough to make you a jihadist who wants to die for Allah. But on the other hand, this was on one hand. On the other hand, all these beautiful women are waiting up there for us. حور مقصورات في الخيام. They translate the word حور as women. And they explain that the women are just waiting for you inside the tents up there. Not only that, some Islamic books said we will be able to make 600 times a day. And we will have continuous erection. I'm not joking, believe me. This is what is written in the Salafi Islamic books. So just imagine this degree of sexual suppression on one hand, and these sexual fantasies are waiting for us up there on the other hand. And I have to be honest with you. Me and many others, we're ready to die for Allah, to enter the paradise, just to make sex. But I'm not exaggerating. So this is the force mechanism. They control your mind. And I'll give you a practical, a concrete example here. You know, of course, about Shia and Sunni Islam. You probably have noticed that most of the suicide bombings are done by Sunni, not Shia. This is partially because the Shia sect have a concept called mut'a marriage, which is a marriage, temporary marriage for enjoyment only. It can last for 1 hour, from 1 hour till 99 years. So you can marry for 1 hour only, and that's it. So Shia people have some way to release their sexual desires on earth. They don't need to commit suicide bombing to do it, to go to paradise to make sex. They can have this release on earth. And this contributes to some extent why Shia Muslims have less tendency to do suicide bombings compared to Sunni Muslims. Because Sunni Muslims do not have mut'a marriage at all. It's not allowed. But Shia Muslims have it. Yeah, sure, certainly. After this, I will just talk briefly, to give chance to the other member in the panel, about the stages in the mind. What happens exactly in the mind of a jihadist? How I changed from a very innocent child in few months to become a person who is ready to die for Allah, to kill others, to rape women who do not wear the Islamic scarf, to burn churches and mosques that does not preach the same Islam, this violent form of Islam. How I changed it in few months. It went into 3 main stages. Number 1, hate. Number 2, suppression of my conscience. Number 3, to accept violence. And I will give you a simple example. If I'm going now, if someone of you told me now, go and kill this guy, for example, here. First thing, you should convince me to hate him. It's very difficult to go and kill someone unless I hated him. So the first thing they do is to make you hate the others. When you go to kill this person, your conscience will tell you, no, that is wrong. This man or this woman didn't do anything wrong to you. Why use violence against? Why to do this? So they have to teach you to be able to suppress your conscience. Number 3, they have to teach you to be able to use violence, because the moment you are starting to use violence, your hand may shake and you may hesitate again. So the 3 stages in the mind goes exactly like this: hate and suppression of conscience, and then violence. And these 3 things correlate exactly with the lack of women rights in the Islamic world. How is this? Just in brief. Number 1, the concept of hijab, wearing the hijab. Many people think it's just a cultural dress. My wife used to wear the hijab, and it is actually not a simple cultural dress. Because the non-muhajjabat, or we call them mutabarrijat, are supposed to be in hell forever. So we started to hate the cultures and the people who do not make women wearing the hijab. So this was the first step to be created in our mind: hatred toward others. Number 2, polygamy. The concept of polygamy taught us to suppress our conscience. Because if I'm going to marry another wife and do not care about the feelings of my wife, because in my view Allah permitted this to me, then you suppress my conscience. My conscience will tell me, don't do this. Don't cause pain to your wife. But the teaching is telling me, Allah accepted this. So I learned to suppress my conscience. Number 3, the use of violence, allowing beating women in the house. It's a concept that teaches you to use violence. So it goes into 3 stages, from hate, suppression of conscience, and then to be able to use violence. And this is vital to know, because terrorism does not occur in vacuum. It is the manifestation of a disease. It's not the disease itself. The process in the mind happens gradually in different stages. When you try to defeat terrorism, you should not just treat the symptom. You should go to the root causes of the problem that works in the mind of young Muslims and treat them by proper educational system that can overcome this problem. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.
Well, let me also say that the power of the self allows someone to change, as you have, to see a deeper, brighter light, let's say a universal light. Now we will hear from Nibras Kazemi, who is a visiting scholar at the Hudson Institute and a weekly columnist on the Middle East for the New York Sun, and I read your columns religiously, dare I say. Previously, Nibras directed the Research Bureau of the Iraqi National Congress in Washington, D.C. and Baghdad, and was a pro bono advisor for the High National Commission for De-Baathification, which he helped establish and staff. Mr. Kazemi's research focuses on the growing threat of jihadism in the Middle East, dare I say, on the planet, as well as prospects for democracy in the region. His primary interest is the national security of Iraq and how threats to the nascent democracy there are enabled and coordinated by regional Middle Eastern actors and factors. He has traveled widely, most recently to Turkey, Iraq, Iran, Lebanon, Egypt, and Jordan, and speaks Arabic and English fluently. Welcome,